Eccoci qui di nuovo al convegno L'eredità dell'antico Egitto. Siamo insieme al professor Hancock e vogliamo chiedergli alcune cose che ci hanno particolarmente incuriosito. Professor Hancock, welcome. What is the fundamental heritage we can expect to receive from ancient Egypt?
Ancient Egyptian civilization was very different from ours. The ancient Egyptians devoted their best minds for 3,000 years to considering the mystery of existence. Why are we alive? What are we to do here? What is the purpose of our lives? If we look at our society today, what does it put its best minds to work on? The creation of new machines, new technology, many different brands of consumer products. They turned us into a very materialistic society, and we have come to believe that outside of the realm of matter, nothing exists. This is surely a mistake. We desperately need to reconnect with the spiritual part of ourselves. Our society has no time for spiritual matters. It has abandoned the spirit. What we can learn from the ancient Egyptians is how to construct a society that nourishes the spirit. And we need to construct that society now, because our society, I believe, is at the point of collapse. We need to construct a society that nourishes the spirit. That's what Egypt can teach us.
Have you ever discovered that the dating of some archaeological site needed to be reviewed?
I'm quite sure that a number of archaeological sites around the world have been misunderstood by archaeologists. First of all, there are many sites that have never been investigated by archaeologists at all. And secondly, when archaeologists do investigate a site, they typically only investigate a very small part of it. For example, Tiwanaku in Bolivia. Archaeology has been going on there for more than 50 years, but up to today they have only excavated less than 2% of the site. I don't think it's possible to arrive at an accurate dating of the site based on an excavation of just 2%. I do believe that Tiwanaku, in its origins, is much older than the date given to it by archaeology, and it may well date back more than 12,000 years. Same goes for Giza. Certainly the pharaohs of Egypt were involved at Giza, but there is much to suggest that there is a more ancient layer of monuments there. Some of the megalithic monuments, some of the subterranean monuments may be much older. Archaeology refuses to consider this possibility because archaeology is locked into a view of the world where there has been a linear, straightforward progression from the past to the present. But maybe it wasn't like that. Maybe civilizations have risen and fallen and great cycles operate in human society. I think archaeologists are too quick to arrive at dates for a site.
How much older these buildings before the pyramids? This interests me particularly.
I think if you look at the Great Sphinx, if you look at the megalithic temples in front of the Great Sphinx, if you look at the megalithic temples beside the Great Pyramids, and you look at the subterranean chambers around the Giza Plateau, these date back more than 12,000 years. To approximately 10,500 BC, whereas the pyramids themselves, certainly the upper courses of the pyramids, are much younger, and I don't dispute the date of 2,500 BC. I think the site is connected to both periods.
Which kind of traces of superior intelligence exist in our past?
I think that there has been a forgotten episode in human history. I think we have lost a whole global civilization from the record. It was a civilization that was capable of mapping the world with astonishing accuracy. Some of those maps have come down to us in the form of copies of older maps, and they show us the world not as it looks today, but as it looked during the last ice age, more than 12,000 years ago. To map the world involves a very high level of technology. Our civilization didn't reach that level of technology until really the 19th century. And so what I'm suggesting is that there was a civilization at least as advanced as that more than 12,000 years ago.
What are your conclusions about the Sacred Graal?
Well, I've done quite a bit of work on the subject of the Holy Grail. I do connect it to the Ark of the Covenant. I think that the object that was called the Ark of the Covenant in later times became referred to as the Holy Grail. And that's really all I have to say on that subject.
What can you tell us about the existence of underwater structures? Have we lost trace of some overflowed civilization that existed in the past?
Yeah. At the end of the last ice age, about 12,000 years ago, as all the ice melted, sea level rose by 120 meters all around the world. Between 1996 and 2003, I scuba dived more than 2,000 times in locations all around the world. And in many locations off the coast of India, off the coast of North America, off the coast of Japan, in the Mediterranean, I found structures which had been built when the sea level was lower. This means that these structures are at least 12,000 years old, and they are often on a gigantic scale. So I think these are tangible proof of the existence of a lost civilization. And I wrote about this extensively in my book, Underworld.